The Downton Abbey staff prepares for the family's return from London, with Mrs. Hughes overseeing the arrangements and Mr. Carson particularly concerned about William's first trip to London. Mrs. Hughes questions Mr. Carson about his early return, and they discuss the assassination of the Austrian Archduke. Lady Grantham speaks privately with Mrs. Hughes about Mrs. Patmore's worsening condition, raising concerns about her future at Downton. Later, Mary and Rosamond discuss Mary's upcoming engagement and the pressure she faces to secure the family's legacy. Mr. Carson informs Lord Grantham that Bates has requested to leave his service, and O'Brien advises Bates against leaving. Mr. Carson informs Mr. Bates about a letter he received from Miss O'Brien, relayed through a lady's maid of a colonel who served with Bates, containing a serious accusation. Bates denies the accusation, but Carson feels obligated to show the letter to Lord Grantham. Meanwhile, Mary and Rosamond discuss Mary's engagement to Matthew and the implications of his potential financial insecurity should he lose his inheritance. Rosamond urges Mary to make a decision before the baby is born, warning against Matthew thinking she only wants him for his position. Carson interrupts Lord Grantham's discussion with the London housekeeper about the new telephone to inform him of O'Brien's letter about Bates. Lady Grantham informs Violet that Mr. Bromwich will arrive to install a telephone for Lady Edith. In the servants' dining room, the staff reads newspapers and discusses the expected baby. Lord Grantham learns of Mrs. Patmore's failing eyesight and arranges for her and Anna to see a specialist in London, and for them to stay with his sister, Lady Rosamond. Matthew confronts Mary about her answer to his proposal, given the uncertainty of his inheritance, which she finds unnecessary. Mr. Carson expresses his shock at the contents of the letter accusing Mr. Bates. Anna tells Mrs. Hughes that she and Mrs. Patmore will travel to London, and Rosamond's chauffeur will meet her at the train station. Back in the servants' hall, Anna discusses Mrs. Patmore's vision and the trip with Bates. In the kitchen, Mrs. Hughes mediates between Mrs. Patmore and Mrs. Bird as they prepare to work together, with Carson and Anna observing the kitchen situation. Violet criticizes Mary, while Robert and Cora discuss Bates, with Cora suggesting O'Brien should be fired instead. O'Brien then speaks with Thomas, and they talk about the upcoming war and make plans. Carson speaks with Mr. Bromwich about installing the telephone, and Edith asks if she can nominate someone for the new staff post. Mrs. Hughes worries about Mrs. Patmore's trip to London, unaware of the operation she is undergoing. While Mrs. Patmore is at a medical facility, Miss Smith, posing as Bates's cousin, visits and obtains information on him from a soldier. Meanwhile, Edith tells Mary about informing the Turkish ambassador about Kamal's death. The Dowager Countess and Cora discuss the search for a new maid, while William and Carson examine the new telephone. Carson later finds Bates with his wallet, but doesn't believe Bates's explanation. During dinner, the staff notes Mrs. Patmore's absence, and Daisy reveals she tampered with the food, influenced by Mrs. Bird and concerns about Mrs. Patmore's return. Later, Anna speaks with Miss Smith, expressing her belief in Bates's innocence, while elsewhere, Robert and Dr. Clarkson discuss Robert's need to contribute to the war effort. Dr. Clarkson discusses the new telephone with William, and Thomas's aggressive interest displeases Carson. Anna learns the truth about Mrs. Patmore's trip and is surprised she wasn't informed about the operation. Robert and Carson then discuss Bates's alleged theft, and Robert considers dismissing him. Robert discusses a potential job for William with Carson, but their conversation is interrupted by Anna, who brings news of Sybil's childbirth and Bates's request for a medical discharge. Downstairs, Mrs. Hughes and Mrs. Patmore bicker over responsibility for the garden party store items, highlighting Mrs. Patmore's concern about her eyesight. Mrs. Hughes subtly assures Mrs. Patmore that a Paris-trained maid is superior. Robert avoids a phone call, and Violet cautions Cora against visiting Sybil, fearing interference. Carson informs Robert of Anna's news regarding Bates, leading Robert to decide Bates's services at Downton are no longer required, while Carson suggests Mrs. Hughes could be suitable as a lady's maid. O'Brien deliberately drops soap during Cora's bath, creating a potential hazard. Finally, at the garden party, Robert receives a telegram announcing that Sybil has given birth to a son, a matter he discusses with O'Brien. Thomas's attempts at civility annoy William, resulting in a physical altercation that Carson breaks up, sending William away. At the party, Robert offers Dr. Clarkson an enlisted officer position at the hospital. Amidst preparations for the garden party, William is instructed to find Mr. Carson for a medical emergency. Anna tells Thomas she needs to return to her duties. Thomas then learns from Molesley that Anna has a secret admirer who is very keen on her, though Molesley doesn't identify the man. Meanwhile, Mrs. Patmore is exasperated with Daisy's inability to properly ice cakes. Matthew announces to Mary that he is leaving Downton Abbey, explaining he can't be sure of her feelings and needs to take control of his life, wishing her well with Evelyn Napier. A distraught Mary is comforted by Carson. Violet confronts Rosamond, blaming her meddling for costing Mary her only offer of marriage. While they both worry that Matthew is making a similar mistake by leaving, Lord Grantham gathers everyone to announce that Great Britain is at war with Germany, news that is met with shock and worry.